Hi, Trippy Beautiful Soul. Welcome to Talk with Tabs. In this episode, we are continuing our talk about the yamas and niyamas. Yama number 4 is brahmacharya, which is non-excess. And I have some notes from this book. So brahmacharya means walking with God, and it invites us into an awareness of the sacredness of all of life. Some people interpret brahmacharya to mean celibacy or abstinence. And if you want to go that route, go that route. You can. It's an option. It's your choice. But it doesn't necessarily mean to do that to that extent. The deeper meaning is to deal with desires in a more sacred way instead of an excessive way. And with doing things excessively can be like overeating, overworking, oversleeping, overworking out, just overworking yourself, overdoing more than what is necessary or what feels complete. You're overflowing your cup. You're not just filling your cup, you're overflowing your cup. And overflow brings overwhelm. And it brings other issues when you have more excess than what is needed. One phrase that I got from this book that I really like is, we tend to move past the place of enough into excess. I wrote an example. Food portions. We get full when we're eating dinner or whatever we're eating, we get full, but there's still some food on the plate. So we just eat it because either we don't want to waste it or we're not about that leftover life. We have excess in our food consumption, but we don't have just enough in our working out. You feel me? So there's not a balance because we have excess in this part of our life and we have not enough in another part of our life. So then we start to gain weight. That can be an issue of overeating. Unless that's your goal, unless you're bulking, but there's so much factors that come into having an excess in one area of your life can mean like there's a non-excess, just like a depletion in another area. We're overeating, we're under exercising. You know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, then that causes being overweight. When you're overweight and you have this routine of excess eating, because that's just your habit, that's just what you normally do, you think it's okay, then more things can come with that. You overeating, you gain weight, other problems come, you get more tired, you sleep more. So if you feel like you're one of those people who overeat, who are full, satisfied with their meal, but they don't want to waste it or they don't want to save it, then maybe serve yourself a little less or start dabbling in having leftovers, even if it's a little bit, or see what other options fit you best. Figure out what option works best for you so you don't have to continue that excess in food consumption. That's just one example. There's so many examples that you can do for having excess in life. Also, excess can be an addiction. Ask yourself if you are in the pleasure of something or if you're more addicted to something. Is that thing pleasing you like in the moment, or are you so addicted? Is that like in your mind all the time? You're not even focused on the present because you're too busy focused on that addiction. Another thing I took note of from this book is, if we are feeding our mental stories and have moved past bodily comfort, we are in addiction and out of harmony. So that's where you're putting more focus onto that addiction, even if it's not happening in the moment. Maybe you're so addicted to it, you want it to be in the moment. You want that to be more part of your life instead of living your actual life in the moment. You're just so focused on that thing that you're addicted to. So that's an excess. Addiction is an excess of something. And there's a ton of different variations of addictions out there. So just notice, maybe you don't even realize you have an addiction, but you do. And that could be a sex addiction, alcohol addiction. It can be a sleep addiction. It could be food addiction. You just constantly want to be snacking. It could be social media addiction. You're on social media all the time. So many different ways to be addicted. So just really ask yourself, like, dang, is this taking over my life, or am I living my life? Another thing, actually, I wrote some questions that were in this book. They are you eating the food, or is the food eating you? Are you doing the activity, or is the activity doing you? So what I got from those questions are you letting your addictions, your excessiveness take over your life, or are you living your life? Are you in control, or is the addiction in control? Are you changing the way you live because of this addiction, or are you living the way you want to live without an addiction? So that's some things to think about. When you have excess, I feel like an excess or an addiction, I feel like that addiction is so pleasing for you in the moment, and you make the moments occur more frequent, that it starts to take over your life. That's the cycle of an addiction. And then it starts to cause unpleasantness in different areas of your life, even though your addiction is so pleasing to you. But there's so much negativity elsewhere in your life happening, but you're so focused on the pleasure that your addiction brings that you don't even care that it's ruining other areas of your life, because you think this addiction is so amazing that you're just allowing it to ruin other areas of your life, until you eventually realize, hopefully that's the hope, that you do realize that this is addiction, this is a problem, and then you'll fix the areas in your life and you won't have excess and have addiction. You'll be able to tune into that addiction and really like figure out what is best to stop the addiction. One thing that it said in this book that I really liked, it says, if we find ourselves living with addiction, excess, and overindulgence in any place in our life, then fasting, celibacy, or abstinence can be very useful to bring us back to the fullness of pleasure. So whatever your addiction may be, start to do, slow down whatever that excess is, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, so that you realize what is important for you in life. Is your addiction important, or is living your fullest life important? Having non-excess is about pleasure, it's about joy, and it's about living your fullest experience. Another thing, I wrote so many notes in this one because I just feel like this yama is also very close to my heart, because I know somebody that's going through addiction. And it personally, it did affect me in my life. So we have to be able to discern between what the body needs in the moment and the story our mind is telling us. So that just brings us back to being more into the moment, tuning out of the addiction, of the excess. It's taking over your life. What is your mind telling you versus what is your body telling you? Is your mind like, this isn't right, but I'm going to do it anyways because it makes my body feel so good? What you think? You could be living in non-excess and be so full of joy and so full of happiness and live your best life, because living in excess is not your best life. That is addiction, that is overindulgence, that is too much overflow. To bring it back to what I had said in the beginning about brahmacharya invites us into an awareness of the sacredness of all of life. See every relationship as sacred. See every experience as sacred. Honor yourself as sacred. I love that. I love that because even the person that I'm holding really close to my heart that has an addiction, I still am looking at them as sacred. It is hard at times, but I just constantly remind myself that I am a sacred being, and this person is also a sacred being. And everything to me in life is sacred. The air is sacred, the plants are sacred, the animals are sacred, every single person is sacred. And I truly believe that. And when I live like that, I just see everybody and I see everything and I smile, because we're all so sacred and we're all so magical, and we need to share. We need to remind each other of how sacred we are, so that we can wake up tune back in to the beautiful reality that we are living, not the excess reality. Bring ourselves back. And I hope to bring you back if you're watching this. Crazy, you know who you are. Another note I took. When gratitude and wonder sit in the heart, there is no need for excess. I love this. I love the word wonder. I love tapping into gratitude. And I think that is true. I think when we allow ourselves to be so thankful and so grateful for the life we're living and for the people that are in it, and we just sit in awe and we sit in wonder, we allow that to like open our hearts more. And I feel my heart opening right now. And I feel everything like radiating on my body and my being. I feel so open and so honored, and I'm so grateful for everybody that's in my life and for all of y'all watching and all of y'all listening. May we all realize if we have any excess in our life, and may we live in non-excess. And may we help others remember that they are more powerful than any addiction that they may have. I'm going to leave off on a quote that I wrote from this book. I took so many notes. This quote is by Howard Thurman, and it says, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." I love it. Oh, Howard Thurman. Yes. May you do what makes you come alive so that this world can be so alive, so much better. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace and love.